Ignorance. Ignorance is the state of not knowing and not realizing that something is missing. It forms when information is scarce, curiosity is weak, or complexity is actively avoided. Its defining feature is simplicity. Fewer variables, fewer contradictions, fewer competing explanations. That simplicity lowers mental load and makes choices feel obvious instead of risky. Ignorance prevents comparison, and comparison is what creates self-doubt and second-guessing. When you don't see alternatives, you don't feel torn between them. This creates faster decisions, which can be advantageous even when the decision is flawed. Problems feel smaller because unseen factors cannot cause worry. The ignorant rarely feel behind because they have no reference point to measure their inadequacy or potential, which they never noticed or cared about at any point whatsoever. Blind confidence. Blind confidence means being sure without fully understanding why. It's certainty that comes before analysis and belief that doesn't wait for confirmation. It forms when instincts are trusted automatically and doubt is rarely entertained. The core trait is decisiveness. Choices feel settled the moment they appear. There is little internal debate, no mental backtracking, no constant reevaluation. This removes friction from thinking and turns decisions into actions quickly. Even when wrong, blind confidence keeps momentum going because the mind doesn't pause to question itself. This creates consistency in behavior, which feels stable and predictable from the inside. The person moves forward as if resistance barely exists. Errors don't cause spirals or reassessment, only adjustment at most. Outcomes are accepted as they come, not dissected afterward. This forward-only motion makes blind confidence durable, even in unstable or uncertain situations. No overthinking. No overthinking is the absence of prolonged mental analysis and repeated internal simulation. It happens when thoughts don't loop, branch endlessly, or return to the same question from new angles. Decisions are made once and then mentally closed. The defining trait is mental speed. Problems are treated as straightforward tasks instead of layered puzzles. Without constant analysis, there is less anxiety about hypothetical outcomes and fewer imagined failures. The mind doesn't rehearse conversations, replay mistakes, or predict every possible response. This frees attention for immediate action rather than internal debate. No overthinking reduces paralysis because there is no sense that a perfect answer exists somewhere just out of reach. Once a choice is made, energy shifts forward instead of inward. Mistakes are handled when they appear, not anticipated in advance. This keeps mental effort low and preserves momentum over time. The lack of internal noise creates a sense of clarity, even if that clarity is built on incomplete understanding. Social ease. Social ease is the ability to move through interactions without friction, tension, or constant self-monitoring. It comes from not overanalyzing how you're perceived, what you should say next, or how every word might land. When expectations are simple, social situations stop feeling like tests. Conversations flow because there is no internal script being checked in real time. You're never being self-conscious. You're being present without scanning for mistakes or hidden meanings. Social ease reduces awkwardness because awkwardness usually comes from self-awareness, not from saying the wrong thing. Without that internal pressure, behavior appears natural and relaxed. This makes interactions smoother and more predictable for others. People tend to mirror ease with ease, lowering resistance on both sides. Social ease also shortens recovery from small missteps, since there is no urge to replay them later. In groups, this trait allows faster bonding because energy is spent engaging rather than evaluating. Over time, social ease compounds into broader acceptance, not because of skill or charm, but because nothing feels strained or forced. Thick skin. Thick skin is reduced sensitivity to criticism, rejection, and negative feedback. It develops when emotional reactions are brief and outside opinions don't sink in very far. Words, judgments, and social signals hit the surface but rarely stay. Insults don't linger, embarrassment fades quickly, and disapproval doesn't trigger long internal reactions. This doesn't require strength, confidence, or self-awareness, only low emotional absorption. When feedback isn't deeply processed, it loses its power power to disrupt behavior. Mistakes don't feel like reflections of identity, just events that happened and passed. Action continues without emotional interruption. Stress stays low even in hostile or judgmental environments, because nothing is taken personally for long. Recovery after conflict is fast, since there's little desire to replay what was said or meant. Over time, this creates durability. While sensitive people constantly adjust to social pressure, thick-skinned people keep moving forward, largely unaffected by signals that slow others down. Conformity. Conformity is the tendency to align behavior, beliefs, and choices with the group without much resistance. It forms when fitting in feels safer or easier than standing out. Instead of questioning norms, conformity accepts them as defaults. This reduces decision-making effort because many choices are already made by the environment. What to wear, how to speak, what to value, and what to avoid are all quietly pre-selected. By matching the group, social friction drops and expectations become predictable. There's less risk of rejection because behavior stays within accepted boundaries. Conformity also reduces internal conflict, since personal judgment is outsourced to collective behavior. When everyone else is doing something, it feels justified by default. This creates a sense of belonging without requiring deep self-definition. Actions feel validated simply because they are shared. In uncertain situations, conformity provides direction when personal understanding is limited. It prevents isolation and reduces the stress of constant self-positioning. While independent thinking demands effort and risk, conformity offers stability and acceptance at a low cognitive cost. In many social systems, blending in is not only tolerated but rewarded, making conformity a practical advantage rather than a flaw. Careless failure. Careless failure is the ability to fail without attaching meaning, identity, or long-term consequence to the outcome. It happens when mistakes are treated as isolated events rather than personal verdicts. When something goes wrong, there is no urge to analyze it deeply, no need to extract lessons, and no pressure to grow from it immediately. The failure happens, registers briefly, and is left behind. This prevents shame from taking root and stops errors from turning into lasting hesitation. Without emotional weight, failure loses its power to discourage future attempts. Trying again feels natural because nothing was mentally damaged the first time. Risk also becomes easier to tolerate when loss carries no psychological aftermath. In practice, this leads to more attempts, more exposure, and more visible effort. While reflective people may fail less often, they fail heavier. Careless failure fails lightly. Over time, this creates resilience through repetition rather than insight. Progress comes not from learning deeply, but from not stopping. Contentment. Contentment is the feeling that things are good enough, even when they could be better. It comes from low comparison, low expectation, and limited awareness of alternatives. When you don't constantly imagine better outcomes, your current state feels acceptable by default. Contentment doesn't require success, progress, or improvement, only the absence of dissatisfaction. Small wins feel sufficient, and small losses don't register as failures. There is no pressure to optimize life, maximize potential, or become something more. Because of this, desire stays manageable. The mind isn't pulled forward by ambition or backward by regret. Satisfaction comes from stability rather than achievement. Contentment also reduces stress, since stress is often created by the gap between expectation and reality. When expectations stay low or vague, that gap shrinks. This makes daily life feel easier to tolerate and harder to disrupt. Discomfort is noticed, but rarely dramatized. Long-term planning feels optional rather than urgent. While highly driven people trade peace for progress, contentment keeps peace by giving up the chase. It may limit growth, but it preserves emotional balance. For many, that trade feels worth it. If you liked this video, make sure to watch these two and hit subscribe so you don't miss the next.